Hello, welcome to Screen Talk with yours truly, Nomfanelo Malloy. So, a few days ago, I was on Twitter scrolling, and I noticed there was a headline that was trending that was made by Jerry Seinfeld. So, he is doing, I believe, press tour for the Netflix movie Untoasted. I think that's what it's called, which is essentially is a movie about, I guess, how Pop Tarts came to be, something like that. So he did this interview with GQ, and that where the headline I'm about to emerge. So here is the title of this interview, which is interesting. Jerry Seinfeld says movies are over. Here's why he made one anyways. So at the beginning, they talked about Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm and all that stuff. I'm just gonna scroll to where he says the quote. So, so he mentioned that I guess while making this movie. Like he was impressed, I guess, by the crew members, where he said, "Oh, I kept getting dragged into things and surrounded by the most amazing people. These movie people are unbelievable. They're insane. Like we had a prop master, Trish Gallagher Glenn. She had a room and it was floor to ceiling toys and bikes and clothes, everything from that era. Everybody does their job 150%. It's weird." And then interviewer asks, "It's sort of amazing that this was new to you this late in your career." Then Seinfeld says, "It was totally new to me. I thought I had done some cool stuff, but it was nothing like the way these people work. They're so dead serious. They don't have any idea that the movie business is over. They have no idea. Did you tell them?" And then Seinfeld says, "I did not tell them that, but film doesn't occupy the pinnacle in the social cultural hierarchy that it did for most of our lives. When a movie came out, if it was good, we all went to see it. We all discussed it. We quoted lines and scenes we liked. Now we're walking through a fire hose of water just trying to see. What do you think has replaced film? Depression? Malaise? I would say confusion. Disorientation replaced the movie business. Everyone I know in show business every day is going, "What's going on? How do you do this? What are we supposed to do now?" Hi, yeah, yeah. So when I first saw this, I'm just like, what? I just thought, what is he talking about? Because, I mean, yeah, people are still making films and all that stuff, but just because movies, maybe as a whole or in general, however you call it, just because they're not widely discussed does not mean they're over. So I do not know what he's talking about here because, I mean, recent example we had was with Barbie and Oppenheimer this past summer. I mean, those were, you could say, a big cultural phenomenon, which was surprising, like given the big IP movies, sequels, and all that stuff that came out last year, which most of them failed at the box office. So yeah, I don't get what he's saying here. Maybe you could argue that the movie business is changing, I suppose, because you see now that, like, with the tech companies like Netflix, Amazon, Apple want to get into the mix, and they essentially want to disrupt the business. Whether that's positive or negative is up in the air. Um, but but probably why people don't, I guess, quote recent movies so much, maybe because they just don't are not responding to the movies themselves. I mean, but again, like, just because they're not widely discussed does not mean they're not relevant, in my opinion. But I do think that, like, with the types of people running the studios and the companies are prioritizing quantity over equality, where they want to focus more on profit as opposed to creativity, if that makes sense. I mean, there are probably going to be exceptions to the rule, but that just is how it seems like where things are going, just based on how things are panning out. So, yeah, I don't think the movie business is dead, but it is changing for sure. Now, is it changing for the better? Well, we just don't know because there's so many questions right now. And like talking about this brought up another interesting article that I found. So the actress Jessica Lange has said that Hollywood is how did he say it? Corporate. She says corporate profit is overwhelming Hollywood, and so much of the industry right now is not about the creative process. So she did interview with Vulture saying there should be a law against it when the topic came out about Warner Brothers canceling movies like Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme for tax write-off purposes. She goes on to say, "We're living in the corporate world, and it certainly has rolled over into the film industry. So much of the industry now is not about the creative process. Obviously, this is not across the board, but there are many instances where I feel like the artistic impulse is overwhelmed by the corporate profit motive. You look at some of the best films of the past year, what do they have in common? They're not from America. My favorite was Anatomy of a Fall. But often do we get to see a film like that where the ambiguity of things is never sewn up? So, and then she goes on from there. So, yeah, like as I said, it seems like just the people that right now running things in the studios are prioritizing profit over creativity. Hopefully, that changes, because you do see with those decisions affecting how certain movies are being put in theaters versus streaming, VOD, and so forth. So yeah, as I said, I don't think the movie business is dead. I do think it's changing. And we'll have to wait and see whether the change is for the better or if it's for the worse. It's really going to depend on who you ask, but I feel like it's going on a downward path, but I do see some glimmers of hope. So because like I was glad, for example, with Oppenheimer doing so well, because that's the type of movie that would have done so well back in the 90s 2000s, when there was when mid-budget movies or like dramas and those types of movies were doing so well at the time. And it was just nice that with Oppenheimer doing so well last year, it shows that, yeah, like people, we want to see um, more different movies than the usual IP movies, sequels, and so forth. So I like to think there's glimmers of hope to make things better, but again, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's pretty much my comments on this. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with Jerry Seinfeld or do you not? Let me know in the comment section. Also, too, you could check the link to my socials, which are in the description. Also, too, if you want to support me and the channel, you can visit my Buy Me a Coffee link, where you could donate by buying me a coffee or join any of my membership tiers. And I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope to catch you on the next one.